Talk about the kind of the end of the game situation, because I know there's a lot of conversation about that. We always, after every game, after every camp, after every recruiting event, we sit down and we discuss things and we process and say, did we make the right decisions? Would we make that decision again? Can we grow from it? Can we learn from it? And to make sure we're always taking time to analyze and critique ourselves and not be defensive, and make sure we are. We feel like we made the right decision there. It's the fourth quarter. The offensive drive started with 2 minutes and 46 seconds to go on the clock with 3 timeouts. Offense called 2 run plays, 1 pass option, which was a naked. Did not pick up the first down. You're talking about 4th down from your own territory, and they need a field goal to win. So obviously, looking back at it after the way it played out, you'd love to go for it on 4th down and convert, but if you don't get it, they're in field goal range and the game is over. We want to always play to our strengths. Our strength has been defense all year long. So you punt in that situation and you put your best unit on the field to win the game for you. Is that probably what people want to hear? No, but I think that's the right decision. And we'd make that again based on, again, how the season has gone and how our defense has played this year. So I did want to mention that. We want to be aggressive, but we want to be smart in everything we do. So obviously looking back at it, you can second guess, but that's the decision that we made, and I think that's the decision we're comfortable with. A couple other things I wanted to cover is, you got Senior Day presentation this week. We're going to be honoring Adrian Amos, Deshaun Baker, Brad Bars, Bill Belton, Drew Boyce, Jesse Della Valle, Miles Diefenbach, Sam Ficken, Mike Hull, Ryan Kaiser, Jesse Maurice, C.J. Olanian, Devin Pryor, T.J. Radigan, Tyrone Smith, Darren Thompson, and Zach Swinek. A couple of those guys probably are new to you because they're walk-ons that technically would have another year of eligibility but are graduating and are probably going to move on. So I wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page with that.
James, the last 2 games you guys moved the ball down the field pretty well on the first drive. Struggled after that. At what point do you sort of switch from what you wanted to do coming into the game and then what you think you have to do based on how the defense has responded to that?
I think it's a combination throughout. I think that's a big reason why we played the end of the game the way we played it. I think it's a feel. It's a feel. One of the things I think we have to do a better job is handling adversity. I mean, we went right down the field running and passing, and then we did it again. And then we had the mishandled snap on the field goal, and from that point on, we didn't look like the same team. Then we started kind of making some mistakes and doing things like that. So that's one of the things that we talked about on Sunday is, we got to handle adversity better. On that side of the ball. When things don't go well or something happens, which it's always going to be that way. You're not going to play a perfect game for 60 minutes. Being resilient enough to push through those things, and that's where having experience and maturity and leadership, in all 3 phases is really important for you.
James, I know you said before the season that John would call plays. I'm just curious, what input do you have on the play calling throughout a game, if any? And are you guys introducing anything, trying to maybe limit the playbook to help these guys out to kind of streamline stuff?
Again, I'll answer this question the same way I've answered it all year long. We sit down throughout the week as a staff and come up with a game plan and make recommendations. We watch formation tapes. We watch down and distance situations. We watch situational and explosive play tapes. We watch every play that we possibly can to get a feel for who and what they are. And then, on game day, I'll make recommendations. I'll make suggestions on things that I'm feeling or seeing or thinking that we need. It was a little bit different in the past when he was up in the booth and I was down the sideline, because sometimes you don't get the feel from the players of what you need at the time. So that's kind of how it's been. We do it more in the game plan. I think I've mentioned to you guys before. I think there's 4 to 6 calls a game. that are important calls. I think the rest of them are basically, what you've decided all week. You're going to call these plays on first down, you're going to call these plays on second down, you're going to call these plays on third down. And it's everybody's input, and the offensive coordinator, myself, put that thing together, and we go from there.
James, kind of thinking big picture here, what would you say are maybe 2 to 3 areas where this offense has gotten better from UCF to now, things that maybe we don't notice but that you guys have?
I think actually, and this is probably going to surprise you that I'm going to say this, is that our offensive line has gotten better. The issue is in the first 4 games, people didn't really know who and what we were going to be. They've seen a weakness, and now the entire defensive game plan is about attacking those things over and over and over again. Typically what people are doing, they're lining up in what we call a solid front, basically covering every single offensive lineman, so you got 5 individual blocks and you're not able to help each other. Or they're lining up in either 4 down or 3 down and bringing complete chaos every single play. We're seeing, I think, on average, about a 20% increase in each team we play in terms of the amount of blitzing and twisting of what they typically do. It spikes up because for young lines, that's a way to expose them. Now, if you got a veteran line and you twist, you handle that the right way, you crease defenses, because when you're moving lateral, you have a chance to get walled and create seams. But when you have an inexperienced offensive line, that causes issues. If I'm working together with Jeff and we're blocking you and double teaming up to the linebacker, and I know where you're at, that helps. Now, when you go here and the defensive end comes here and the linebacker runs over top, now you have to be really disciplined with your footwork and your fundamentals and your training to trust that. And that's where so I actually think they've improved, but we're seeing more than you typically would see, and I understand that. I think those things have improved. I think the understanding of what we're trying to do and why has improved. It's the consistency in the execution that we haven't been able to do. I think that's been the biggest factors, and the moving parts that we've had on the offensive line have magnified it.
James, it seems that more of Christian's struggles have come when he's been moving, maybe off the run, and he's made some good throws from the pocket. Now that the offensive line is healthier and protecting him, would you like to keep him in the pocket a little bit more?
Well, it's a combination of things. That was one of the big reasons why we were so aggressive in trying to run the ball on Saturday. Our plan was let's run the ball. Let's play good defense. Let's play good special teams and find a way to get this win. Mix in the pass when we felt like we needed to. I think being in the pocket, I think, is his strength, but a pocket has not been a strength of our offense. So moving the pocket and calling movement passes or nakeds and things like that is a way to protect him. So do I think he's probably better standing in the pocket and going through his progression? Yes, but that isn't necessarily who we've been able to be as an offense this year.
And